You took everything from me.
I don't even know who you are.
And this is it. We have reached the final tier, finally, of this iceberg. If you've watched all of this, that's very impressive. You might have noticed a slight increase in quality as the videos have gone. I am very slowly learning how to edit. But let's just get straight into it. I'm excited to finish this. So, the first bunch of this final tier are all books. They're all little novellas that have been written, I think all in 2005, except for maybe one that was 2006. You've got The Experiment, Planet of the Beast, Church of the Divine Psychopath, Hell Lake, Hate, Kill, Repeat, Death Moon, Jason Strain, To the Third Power, Carnival of Maniacs, and so on. Further down we have a few comics, but I'll do those separately. Right, I mean, I'll whiz through these because aside from a couple of them, they're all very, very samey. The Experiment. If you've watched Jason X, you know about Jason, Future Boy, Cyborg, Monster Man. Very, very scary, and a lot of these are just about people bringing him back, you know, with essentially the plot of that film in different scenarios. The Experiment is the least original. It is literally the plot of that film. Jason, brought back. Oh no, he's turned on us. Starts killing people. Planet of the Beast. Crazy doctor thinks, ooh, Jason, he's kind of immortal. Kind of. Maybe I could replicate that. You know, clone him and create a immortality potion or some fucking dumb shit like that. He turns on them. Who would have guessed? Church of the Divine Psychopath. This is about a cult. They love Jason. They're like, Jason is... And this is where they start really playing on this sort of joke turned into somewhat canon, that people seem to think that Jason really hates anyone displaying non-Christian values and immoral behaviour, since he so often goes after people who are having sex or drinking or just generally young teens who are fucking around. And the reason for this is, in my opinion, just because that's the kind of people who go to the camp. But, you know, people made a joke and a lot of the creators have run with it. In fact, Jason in Church of the Divine Psychopath is being worshipped for it. There is this cult and they're saying, this man, he hates immoral people, so do we. Let's worship him. And would you believe it? Would you believe it? He turns on them and he kills them all. Who would have guessed? Hell Lake. This is one of the original ones. This is a really weird plot. I don't know who came up with it, but essentially a serial killer dies, goes to hell. Jason's down there. If you know, because these novels bounce around from film to film, this one would be set after Jason goes to hell. And Jason's down there. And he, you know, the serial killer comes across Jason and is like, hey, man, you're pretty cool. You're an idol of mine. Jason's like, hey, thank you. That's really sweet of you. No one ever compliments my work. And somehow the serial killer convinces Jason that, well, the serial killer finds a way out of hell. Then says to J-Man, come along with me, you know, we'll kick some ass. Then gathers like an army from hell, and Jason becomes like the general of this army from hell that comes out of Hell Lake and just kicks ass. I haven't read this one. I don't really know what happens. I know the rough outline. I don't know. It's probably fun. Probably. Don't ask me. Hate, Kill, Repeat. If I'm right, this is very similar to Church of the Divine Psychopath. This is about two serial killers who are also all about, you know, morality and how heinous and void of virtue this world is, how full of sin. We're all wallowing in this pit of sex and drugs and alcohol. And so they kill people and they think, hey, Jason, he's one of us. Take a guess what happens. He turns on them, he kills them. He kills a bunch of people. Typical. Death Moon, back to future Jason. They resurrect him. He kills people. This time, I think it's like a girls' camp for young offenders in space. So that's cool. Jason Strain is... I don't really remember. Oh, I do remember. This is just a battle royale. It's like they put I think it's like a TV show, and they get all the real criminals from the world and have them fight each other, and then they drop Jason into it. Why not? Why not? To the third power. This is... let me remember. To the third power. Oh, it's gone from me for the moment. Yeah, I think, I mean, let's face it, it is probably in space. And it's probably Jason killing a bunch of people who thought that they could resurrect him. But I'll check that. Alright, I'm back, and I was completely right. It is literally future Jason killing a bunch of people. This time in a prison. In space. Carnival of Maniacs is Jason. Has been... well, Pamela Voorhees is back in this one. Yeah, that's right. The one who got her head chopped off. Don't ask me how. She's back. She wants to kill a bunch of people. She goes to the camp and she's like, Jay, man, my son, we're reunited. But Jason's not there. Where's Jason? Is he in New York? Is he in space? No, he's been captured. Jason has been captured by a traveling circus, and they are, you know, keeping him as an attraction. Take a guess what happens. Pamela comes along, says, please don't do that. Kills a bunch of people. Releases Jason. FBI's involved somehow. Next, and that's it for the books. I believe that we have some comics coming up. Special, Bloodbath, Hell Baby, Abuser and Abused, Badland. They are all, what do you call them? Comics. I'm forgetting everything now. But before that, just before that, we have Jason's cameo in the Halloween Horror Nights ads. I don't know what this is, and maybe why it's so far at the bottom. Halloween Horror Nights is a very famous kind of haunt attraction thing that a lot of horror fans go to. Maybe I will one day. I'm not American though, so I don't live anywhere near it. And I'm assuming Jason is in an ad. In fact, I will get that up for you if I'm not feeling lazy and play it now.
So what's my future?
You don't have one.
Then we have Special. Special is a comic. It is about Jason killing a bunch of people. So is Bloodbath. I don't really think either of them are that interesting, so I'm just going to move on. Okay, what was next? What was next? Hell Baby. Shit, this is the only comic I don't know. I think, fuck it, I'll just put a description in post. Oh, Abuser and Abused. I do know this one. It's a really sad one. This is a really sad story, and it's not really focused on Jason at all. It's about a poor girl gets abused by a boyfriend, abused by a stepmother, father's a drunk, you know, all sorts. Anyone she talks to doesn't believe her. It's all very sad, very, very sad. And then she snaps and murders everyone in her life, and spoilers, takes her boyfriend to Crystal Lake, stabs him. Her boyfriend's abusive, stabs him a bunch of times, hits him. He starts fighting back, nearly kills her, and then Jason appears and smashes the guy with a machete. She fights Jason a bit, in quite relatively successfully, you know, as well as anyone does. Stabs him a bunch, runs away, blows up a car, right, you know, in his face, and it does nothing. She, at the end, is about to be killed by him. And she's like, Jay, man, J-Dog, you are abused. I am abused. We are both abused people. We are the same. We should not fight. And Jason doesn't kill her instantly. So she's like, oh, I have got this man right where I want him. You know, or at least thinking that he's sympathetic. She hugs him and is like, I'm not kidding. She just hugs him and is like, hey, it's okay. And he lifts up his machete, and just as she screams, no, we're the same, he swipes off her head. So that's Abuser and Abused. Badland and Mason from Stan Helsing. Oh yeah, Stan Helsing is a kind of horror parody thing, and Mason is a parody of Jason. Badland is another comic whose description I will put up now, because I am reaching the end of my knowledge, thankfully right at the end of the, the iceberg. And finally, we have 2 left. Jason in Dead by Daylight. Why is this so low? And hasn't this already been there? I swear, I think that this was covered way higher up in the iceberg, and it definitely should be, because everyone who is into horror and games, I'd put it in like the second tier. You know, if you're into horror, you're into games, you know, Dead by Daylight, and Jason was going to be in it. Yeah, maybe it wasn't there. Maybe it's assuming people didn't know that they wanted Jason, but they did. Copyright issues. Who'd have guessed? And the Trapper is kind of Jason. Kinda. Not really. Kinda. He's got a mask, he's got a machete. He leaves traps, which isn't typical Jason, but it is from the 2009 remake. So, hey. Is it so bad? I don't think so. We have the Friday 13th game, except we don't, because it went down. Cheers. Well, I'm not going to leave this on a sad note, so we have one more. Sequels after Part 5 are from the mind of Tommy Jarvis. Customarily, we must end it off with something ridiculous. And this isn't the most ridiculous. It's, I kind of hate these theories for anything. Whenever it's like, it was all in their mind. Why? It sucks, it's boring. But, I suppose this one has some credit, because if you see in Part 5, Tommy Jarvis is not doing well. He's hallucinating Jason, he's freaking out, he's at this sort of camp for people who need rehabilitating. He's not doing well, and then Jason supposedly appears again. That's Part 5. If you're this far into the iceberg, I assume you've watched Part 5. So spoilers, it's not Jason. It's that random paramedic, Roy Burns, in disguise. And Tommy kind of sucks in that film. He never really does anything great, even though it like sets him up as a fighter and trying to overcome his problem. He never does. He just panics and gets his ass kicked. And then the final girl is the one who has to deal with Roy. But at the very end, it's heavily implied that Tommy has gone crazy. That, you know, he's still seeing Jason, and he picks up a knife and escapes from hospital and takes his mask. And it's like, oh no, this man is going crazy. They never do anything with that. It's really annoying. That was how they ended Part 4 and Part 5 both times. They were like, ooh, the next one might be Jason. Then Part 5, they're like, no, not really. He's just gone a bit crazy. And then in Part 6, Tommy Jarvis he's a completely not normal dude. You know, he's scarred. He stabs Jason a bunch, but he's much more with it than this Tommy Jarvis, and he's definitely not the one killing people. So this theory I don't believe, but you know, it has some credit to it. I won't say that it's unbelievable. TJ may be imagining all of it. He's got a very creative mind. It would explain the continuity errors. It would explain the ridiculous settings. It'd explain why it's so unimaginative. But no, I think that in the setting of Friday 13th, I think that they're all real. And that's all. That is everything. That is the entire iceberg. You now know everything, kind of, that there is to know about Friday 13th. I mean, there isn't that much, let's face it. In terms of deep lore, it is generally quite a straightforward series, but I enjoy it. It's a comfort thing, and I've enjoyed making these. So let me know if you have watched all of these. Be very, very surprised if there's anyone. But I'm mostly making it for one person anyway, and I hope that they enjoyed. But for now, goodbye.